Welcome to Jim Totino Stadium here for the fourth game of the year for both the Robbinsdale Armstrong Falcons and the Eagles of Totino Grace. I'm Charlie Beatty. Sig Lagry joins me here. And Sig, two teams, ton of success a year ago, 27 wins between the two of them. Each are still looking for their first win here in 2017.
Kind of unusual for these two teams, especially Armstrong, which we've been following for some time. You don't expect them to come in for this match at 0-3, Totino Grace at 0-1-2. Looking for their first win, still early in the season so they can develop things, but they have to get something going. They have to start scoring and they got to start winning. This conference is just way too difficult to come off with a 0-3 or 0-win game this early.
Well, and for Robbinsdale Armstrong so far this season, not only have they not won a game, still have yet to put the ball in the net. That's got to be troubling a little bit for Natalie Jin.
Well, absolutely. You got to get your players to get in scoring position, get some quality shots, and get something in. You're not going to win the game unless you win some of those goals.
And for Totino Grace on their end, one loss that came on Tuesday against Anoka. A couple draws before that. Their issue is just trying to keep the ball out of the net at the moment as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be conscious of your defense and do your counter, get your moves going, and again, get the ball over to the midfield and make an attack, make some quality shots, and then score some goals.
Well, the teams are desperate. The weather's really strange. It should make for a really good night. Robbinsdale Armstrong and Totino Grace coming up next on CCX Sports.
What makes your community feel like home? Is it knowing what's happening in your neighborhood? Or when people know your name? Connections make us a community. For more than 30 years, Northwest Community Television has connected citizens, neighbors, even sports fans through video. As life gets busier than ever, we will still offer you a connected community experience through CCX Media, so you can stay connected to the place you call home.
They said a bottle was just a bottle. That no one would ever notice me. But I knew I could be more. That one day, I would make people smile.
The color in my garden keeps the pink in my cheeks. I was very independent and thought I could take care of myself. I fell and I had to have Meals on Wheels. They're my savior. My name is Lola Silvestri. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Clouds overhead, a little bit of sunshine as well. Kind of depends on where you are in the stadium here for this nightcap. And you can see Robbinsdale Armstrong with a record of 0-3-0 and Totino Grace 0-1-2, getting set for what is both of them the third Northwest Suburban Conference game of the year. Charlie Beatty, Sig Lagry up here in the booth as you see the Falcons getting introduced, shaking hands with their head coach Natalie Jin. And this is a team that has played some really quality teams here to start the year, but they haven't had much success.
Well, and that's the way it works sometimes. When you play the quality teams, you may or may not come out with a breakout game and score goals. But it's good for you also because you're playing somebody that's well. It means you have to play at a higher level at your own team. So hopefully that'll pay off and get them into some good quality shots and get some exciting goals going.
Yeah, the Falcons on the year. Losses in the season opener back on August 24th at Edina. Very good Edina team, 3-0. The loss to Blaine, 1-0. And then last week against Andover is really the disaster game. Lost it 5-0. That's a really good Andover team.
Yeah, Andover's got a good program going this year.
And on the other side, Totino Grace coming off their first loss of the year. The Eagles lost to Anoka 2-1 on Tuesday. They have a couple of 2-2 draws on the ledger as well, at Holy Angels and at Spring Lake Park. This is their second home game of the year. Offense hasn't been the problem, but they've been giving them up.
Yeah, when you give them up, that's just not a good sign. We're looking at last year, Totino Grace had a record of 11-5. Went into the sections, won the first game against Henry North and lost to Columbia Heights 1-0 in the section quarters. And with Armstrong Falcons last year, 11-3-3, lost in the first round of the section to Cretan-Durham Hall. So they both have good records from last year, and the anticipation is that they would come back this year and be successful. But it's been a struggle, but as you said, they played against some really good teams, and that makes it a little bit tougher for them.
Now, obviously, for Totino Grace, not only do you play against really good teams, but for the most part, you play a double-A schedule. You're a single-A team. That tends to pay off at the end of the year. I figure these are just kind of steps on the road for Matt Thibodeau.
Right. You'll start building your program again and moving forward. And you see in the background the clouds are dark, which is really kind of weird because just to the left of us on the field, the sun's shining.
Yeah, there's some interesting aerial shots here tonight as you see the Eagles getting warmed up, getting introduced. Natalia Gagnon will be the goalkeeper at least to start. They have used 2 this year. Gagnon is the older of the 2. She's a junior. We may also see freshman Emma Lehman as well. They both played in the game against Anoka on Tuesday. They each gave up one of the goals, but they also both made at least 8 saves. So some busy work for those goalkeepers. But I don't think they've made a decision yet as to who's going to be the number 1.
Right, and they'll figure that out as the season goes along. And looking at the players, very enthusiastic coming out.
Yeah, obviously, when you've got a team that is in the same boat as yourself, it kind of gives you a little jump. Go into that game as you have a chance to right the ship a little bit here in game number 4. Again, these two teams, great numbers with the last couple of years. 2 years ago, Robbinsdale Armstrong, the Northwest Suburban Conference champions. That's already going to be a tough road with all the good teams ahead of them like Maple Grove, Centennial, Blaine, and Andover. That's a tough power pack top 4. You're already in the hole a little bit, so we'll see how these teams can dig themselves out of it. And the Falcons huddling around Natalie Ginn. You saw the Eagles before. Matt Thibodeau, the head coach there. As we get set for the nightcap in what was a doubleheader here today. Totino Grace winning the opener, the boys' game. 3-0 was the final score, so the girls trying to follow up there as well.
Yeah, the boys had a very outstanding game with good ball control, good possession. They were always on the offensive, moving the ball back and forth. Passing was crisp and on target. And Armstrong just had a really tough time getting back into the game.
You see a good look at a player we'll probably talk about a lot tonight. Lexi Serene, one of only 3 seniors on this Totino Grace roster, wearing the number 11. Scored their only goal on Tuesday against Anoka, and the Falcons taking the field as well. And they will take the field in front of maybe one of the best goalkeepers in the state, Anna Aguado, on her way to the University of Minnesota, having a tough start to this year. But last year she was unbelievable, 10 shutouts on the season. But in games this year, take the Edina game, she faced 17 shots in that game. That's just a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And we are underway. Totino Grace will get us started.
Eagles going left to right in the white uniforms. Armstrong defending with their red uniforms.
Olivia Barfneck there in the back for the Falcons. And this one clips off Sarah Lozelle. And Lozelle with a little room down the sideline here. Going to play in a cutback cross, and that's played out of there again by Julia Osborne, one of the 5 seniors on this Falcon roster. Fairly young teams, especially Totino Grace. They have as many freshmen on their varsity roster as they do seniors, so it's a transition year a little bit for a team that's been really good for the last couple. Now Osborne down the wing. Maybe a chance here for the Falcons, hustling after a Jordan Bloom, a junior. Eventually able to pick it up. And here is Serene. Long ball aimed towards Rachel Zastapil. Pardon me, Olivia Olsen, 15, not 16. A little tricky to see with these gold numbers on the back of the white uniforms.
Yeah, they're a little bit tough to see.
And the throw-in goes to the Eagles, as you can see. Just a minute and change into this one. Throw-in coming from Sarah Ellis, a sophomore defender. And out of play, back to the Falcons right away.
It's Armstrong with the throw-in.
Jessica Cruz gets us started. Osborne battling in midfield. Trying to get a little help up there from Caitlin Baker, number 10. Turn back over to the Eagles. And here is Serene down the wing, looking for Olsen through the middle. First one to it is Barpneck. She'll go back to Aguado. And a long ball for Bloom. Able to keep it in play. And up towards Baker again. Baker listed as a defender on the roster. And when you're 0 for the first 3 games, you may shuffle things around a little bit to see the right combination out there.
Well, absolutely. You can move the players up and down, switch them around a little bit.
Throw in here belongs to the Falcons. Off the head of Jessica Hanley, sophomore midfielder for Robbinsdale Armstrong, out there wearing number 32. And the battle continues. Serene trying to poke it forward. Off the feet of Olsen. And another long clearance for Robbinsdale Armstrong. Aimed towards Baker. Touched away from her. And back comes Paula Del Moral.
A lot of back and forth and takeaways here and there in the midfield.
Another interception by Julia Osborne, who had 8 goals last year. She's one of the players that Robbinsdale Armstrong really looking to get their attack going this year. Another throw in on this near side. And touched out of play. Still belongs to the Falcons off the foot of Lilia Linders. Molly Jager with the throw. Long one towards Baker. Defended there by Linders, a sophomore. Throw-in belongs to Robbinsdale Armstrong. Flipped into a dangerous position, still rattling around in there. And Totino Grace able to deal with it, at least for the moment. Kept up by Elise Gallup. And now here's Hanley looking for the game's first shot and sends it wide. The first real spell of pressure for Robbinsdale Armstrong in this game, 4 minutes in.
You see it again. It takes a left-footed shot just a little bit to the left of the near post. Goal kick
all the way through to Olsen. Sorry, Sig.
They managed to get that kick all the way out the midfield, and now Totino Grace with an offensive surge.
And here comes Sarah Lozelle, and she may have earned the game's first corner and does here.
That's the Eagles' target.
And Totino Grace, you mentioned the distance on the kick. They're going with the wind here in this first half, which is still, I would say, a factor that has to be dealt with for both teams. See the flags whipping a little bit when you get a shot of them. We'll see. There you go.
Yep.
And out of the corner.
Nice corner to the center of the box.
Comes back out again, Sabrina Jara. Into a dangerous spot again. That looked like it might have touched a hand. Matt Thibodeau up off the bench for Totino Grace, saying it did. Still loose in there, and it's finally touched away from Sheelan Laney. And Robbinsdale Armstrong survives.
I couldn't tell if that was touched or not by hand. We'll take a look at it when we get the replay up.
They might have a case on that one. My first impression was that it did hit a hand. Now, obviously, it has to be intentional.
Nope.
It was from close range. In any case, Robbinsdale Armstrong was able to get it free. And here they are again. Here's Osborne.
And that's what counts for them. Headed back up to the middle.
Osborne again sends it wide. Tucked back by Jordan Bloom. Nobody there in red. And back towards Olsen again for Totino Grace. Two moving down this right-hand side, but they checked their runs before the long ball came through, and that's an easy one for Aguado.
Yep. Just goes out there and scoops it up.
Eventually.
Calling her defense to go out because she's going to punt, not distribute.
Off the head of Chara. And the throw-in belongs to the Falcons. 6.5 gone here in this first half. On CCX Sports, Totino Grace, Robbinsdale, Armstrong, scoreless. Falcons trying to break an O for the season here. This is Baker again. Defended well, able to get it back. Now Osborne.
Armstrong doing a good job of winning the 50-50s.
Baker able to hold that in. The cross cut out again, straight to Osborne, trying to get it to settle down and never really got a ton on the shot. Easy scoop for Natalia Gagnon. Now Olsen. The wide target is Sarah Lizelle. Been pretty central to all the action here for Totino Grace early in the game. And the clearance off the foot of Isabel Bowick and out.
Eagle throwing.
It's a return pass from the throw-in.
Zastapil plays it ahead, and they're looking for Lizelle down the side again, and she's got room to work with. Cuts the cross back, and does have an option there, and that's in for Totino Grace. Sabrina Jara. Her first goal of the season.
And comes at an opportune time as Totino Grace gets on the board at 32-12 left. Here's Seed again, scramble for the ball. Nice shot just inside the outside post, the far post.
That cross really seemed like it sat there forever.
Yeah, it did. It took forever to get over there and made the contact, but
Jara had one goal last year, already matched it here, and Totino Grace on the board first. And if you're the Falcons, obviously you, like we said, mentioned that they haven't gotten a goal yet this year, and they will eventually, but it's got to be in their head a little bit. You would want to go out and get that first one in a game to feel like you've got that leg up.
Absolutely. Gives you the confidence.
They have the throw here, and they really had the better of the offensive flow going forward until the goal went in. See if they can recapture that. Jara doing some defensive work, only as far as Baker, and this will come out to Jordan Bloom looking for the cross. And sliced it out of play for a goal kick.
That's an Eagle goal kick.
Robbinsdale Armstrong last year, great record, 13-3-3. That got them the 5th seed in their own section, which is pretty loaded. Teams like Washburn, Wayzata, Hopkins, and Cretin. You mentioned it earlier, the loss to Cretin in the quarterfinals. Of course, Totino Grace knows a thing or two about loaded sections. They're in with Benilde, St. Margaret's, and Blake, so you're not going to get any sympathy from them.
Not at all.
And back comes Robbinsdale Armstrong again. Everything going through Osborne. That's an onside play on the far side for Jordan Bloom, but it's cleared away. This is Laney trying to keep it in. One back by the Falcons. Working hard for it is Cruz. Comes to the near side, aim for Bowick, and cleared away towards Olsen. Nice turn, and Totino Grace might be able to break here.
They got a 4-on-4 if they can maintain it.
This is Laney looking for the cross, and hustling back to pick it out was Cruz.
Good recovery by the Armstrong defense.
And Del Moral loses out for Hanley. And Osborne looking to the far side for Bloom. And that one will eventually roll out of play. Now Laney again sees only red looking up. Goes crossfield for Lizelle.
Feeds it up the left.
Laney again. Cross knocked down by the sophomore Olivia Barfnicht. Throwing Totino Grace.
And sometimes it's a good idea if you're not quite sure what's going on, get the ball out of over the touchline. That's better than being confused on your defense.
Long range effort from Jara there, and that one's easily picked up by Aguado. Out for Bawick quickly. And intervention there from Linders. Bawick again running out of room though on the sideline. Turns it over to the Eagles right in front of Matt Thibodeau on the bench. Out of play again, still belongs to Totino Grace.
And they don't care how they move it up the field as long as they move it up the field.
5 yards at a time.
Now I'll go the other direction.
Substitutions coming in here though for Robbinsdale Armstrong first. Carly Kersel, number 21. Samantha Hanlon, number 17. And also into the game, Lauren Gilbert, another player listed as a defender, but she'll play up front. A throw aimed towards her, but knocked away by Lilia Linders. Molly Jager with the work on the sideline. She'll earn the throw. As you can see, just about 12 minutes gone here in this first half. The only goal from Sabrina Jara, the sophomore. The referee wants this one the other direction here.
It's Roger Tolley. He's the center referee. Michelle Warren is AR1, and AR2 is Mark Weber. That's the officials for this match.
Right now, this game bottled up along this near sideline. Down the line, intended for Hanley.
Looking for some help.
Not a bad cross. Comes through to the far side and a chance, and not much on it, however, for Samantha Hanlon. So Hanley to Hanlon. And a goal kick in the end.
Yeah, a little bit underneath it, and then it kind of slid off to the right side.
Obviously the turf here, grass I should say, a little slick because we did have some rain during the boys' game and really even in between games.
Yeah, just enough to make it a little bit wet and get that soccer ball a little bit slippery. That's could be a factor for the keepers when they make a stop, that the ball doesn't go sliding through their hands.
Is this a situation where maybe from long range, we have a corner here for Robbinsdale Armstrong, you try it, whereas another night you might try to work it into the box a little more?
Absolutely. And it's also a matter of what are they going to give you. But yeah, I would put the ball to the keeper and make the keeper try and grab the ball, hope for a slip.
Jessica Cruz with the corner, and that's not a bad ball to a dangerous spot, still loose, and it's bundled in. And the goal for the junior Carly Kersel. Oh, that was a really dangerous ball from Cruz. That started it off, and then it was just a mad scramble, and Armstrong has their first goal of the year.
Here's nice high corner, and here's the... Yeah, let's look at... Let me see it again.
She actually got it off the left foot.
Yeah, a defender... Okay, yeah, the keeper didn't get the ball. That's what we were just talking about.
As we watch this replay, here comes Totino Grace right back as Serene in the box, and Kersel doing some good defending. And it's Kersel again into the corner with Serene. Booted away by Olivia Barfnick for Kersel, second year of varsity. That's her first ever goal.
It comes at a good time and knotted up 1-1.
Yeah, probably the most needed goal for Robbinsdale Armstrong's program
Ever.
in years.
So the drought is over.
And we joke about it, but that probably does weigh on you as a player, especially after 3 games. And now they can feel like they'll get the season started.
All right, they know how to do it. They just got to do it again. And what we also talk about a lot in soccer is those set plays can be so important. Corner kick being one of the better opportunities for getting a score.
Some good work there on that corner as well by Jessica Hanley. She had the initial touch to knock it down.
Knocked it down, and then he went to the keeper and she lost it. And Crystal was right there to knock it in.
Falcons trying to keep the pressure on, and into the game here is Rachel Peterson, senior, one of only 3 on this Totino Grace team. Now Jaeger. Good work by Serene to knock it away. And looking for the turn in midfield and getting it is Paula Del Moral. Mentioned Aguado is on her way to the University of Minnesota. Well, Paula's older sister, Ariana, was a senior on the Totino Grace team last year. She's already there. 14 goals last year for Totino Grace. And then we have the flag up here and an offside against Peterson. Just over 24 minutes remaining in the first half. Charlie Beatty, Sig Lagery with you here on CCX Sports. Good game so far, 1-1.
Yep, all knotted up at 1, and each team finally getting some breaks, getting a goal in.
Nicole Franzak back defensively for Totino Grace. Laney with the referee playing advantage on that one. Looking for Peterson down the line again. Jaeger with a nice recovery. Able to turn it outside, but the throw does belong to the Eagles, and they want to take it quickly. Back for Peterson. There is that long-range shot. Actually turns into a cross.
Yeah, I think she was trying to set up some forwards on the far side. Good penetration here, and a shot off to the right side.
They're taking your advice, though. Trying it even from outside the box, seeing what happens. Jessica Schrader, a freshman, is about to check in for the Eagles. She'll have to wait. Can't do it here on the Robbinsdale Armstrong goal kick. Knocked down by Hanley.
Let's try to redirect it, but there was nobody there in red.
And this one aimed towards Gilbert, a little bit of a foot race, and you can see the ball slow down some on that grass. Checked up, helping Totino Grace out as it's knocked away by Zastapil. Hanley again looking for the scoop. And Zastapil with her back to the field of play. Pretty much all she could do there to earn a throw, and now the substitutes can come in for Totino Grace. So in addition to Jessica Schrader, we'll also see Lauren Miller, 2 freshmen coming on.
Number 20, Jessica Schrader.
Checking out right now Olivia Olson and the goal scorer, Sabrina Jara. Back to the middle, here's Kersel. Wanted one for Osborne. Too much on it. Out comes Totino Grace on the far side. Sarah Ellis up the line and out of play.
That's what you don't want to do. You don't want to commit a turnover in your own end.
Here's a chance for Gilbert, and straight on target, and the save for Gagnon. Knocked down by Kersel. A nice turn here by Jessica Hanley. Boy, that goal has really given Armstrong some confidence. Jaeger knocked down by Osborne, trying to hustle back onto it. And a goal kick for the Eagles.
And looks like Serene will take this goal kick. Some teams have a designated goal kick player.
Yeah, rarely do you see that player come out of the midfield to take goal kicks.
Well,
obviously in high school, a lot of goalkeepers don't do it, but usually it's a central defender. You'd think Serene might be one of the targets of a goal kick, but instead she's back taking it.
Right. Well, you got to use your players as you can.
Yeah, Matt Thibodeau knows them a lot better than I do, that's for sure. Through the middle again. This time it's Elise Gallup. Now Osborne.
Armstrong again coming away with the ball from the midfield area to mount their attack, and they're going to keep going with a throw in.
Really, ever since that goal, they've been winning some more of these loose ball battles.
Right. Get that little bit of confidence factor building.
Purcell again looking to this near side for Hanley. Cleared away and then off the head of Riley Riddle. Wide by Gallup, unable to hold it in is Hanley. This teams met, of course, last year. Armstrong came away with the win in that one, 2-1. Hanley on the ball now, one of the goal scorers in the game. And went all the way through, an easy one for Gagnon.
Nice kick from Gagnon.
Yeah, she has been getting some nice distance on those. And the wind really wasn't a factor in that one because the wind has now died down.
Right. Flag is hanging down, so no wind, not much wind to speak of. Certainly not enough to make a difference on the kicks. Hit it right back over the touchline. It'll be Armstrong ball going the other way.
Yeah, Paula Del Moral thought she was bumped in the back on that one. Contact between her and Carly Kersel. And now here's Hanley. Double teamed, and Serene comes away with it.
Boy, Serene very aggressive there, coming in and taking the ball. But that's what you want from your midfielder. Somebody can go in there, take control of the ball and move it to your advantage.
Especially since what we just said a moment ago, Armstrong's really had the muscle going in the midfield the last handful of minutes.
Well, they poked it away, but poked it right to the Totino Grace defender.
Armstrong able to win it back. Samantha Hanlon over the head of Serene there. This is Hanley. And then cleared away by Franzak. Olivia Barfneck now. Down the line, a foot race here. Riley Riddle has about 3-4 steps on Schrader. Throw in now for Totino Grace. Shaylin Laney. Now Schrader looking for Serene in the middle. And cleared away again. Now comes Hanley. A lot of space in front of her. Trying to get around Zastapil and does. Once went through the middle for Gilbert, a little too strong, and Gagnon will scoop it up. Now Serene. Schrader again in a foot race, and now Aguado comes across to cut that one out. Eagles want to get some substitutions on again. It's going to be Jara and Lizelle. Two very active players for them early in the game are going to re-enter here. And they should do it right about now.
And they do.
Peterson and Serene to the bench.
And number 8, Sabrina Jara.
And a throw in for Schrader. Hanley stepping on the ball, and she comes up shaking her hand as she ran into Zastapil.
Yeah, she may have jammed a finger when she came down.
An awkward play all the way around. Good turn. Some excellent work done there by Del Moral, and now here's Schrader. Trying to get a step on Barfnecht here down this near sideline. Good work by the sophomore defender to come back and try to shield her off the ball, and in the end has to concede the throw. And substitutions again. Also back in Olivia Olson and Abigail Glancy coming in for Totino Grace.
Again, rotating players in to keep them fresh.
Here is Glancy. Lizelle. Back for Glancy again. Hanley in close quarters here, and now Jaeger has to backtrack and plays a pretty dangerous ball. Back to Barfnecht, put her in a tough spot.
And again, Throwing for Totino Grace deep in the Armstrong defensive zone. It's just a lot of back and forth right now.
And a throw for the Falcons, that one deflecting off Lizelle. Under 15 minutes to play in the first half. Seems like big portions of this game have been played right along this sideline here.
Yes.
First team that's really able to switch the field, play that long ball out to the other side, may have something working. Schrader trying to chase this down as Barfknecht overstepped it. That one stays in play. Glancy up the line, now Lizelle, and does find the open part of the field. That is the middle. Jara. Good work by Osborne.
Nice takeaway by Osborne. She's on the fly. It's 2 against 4.
Ahead for Gilbert. And you mentioned the 2 against 4, and the 4 did their job, and it's touched out of play on the far side.
That's usually what happens. Unless someone has a real breakaway. We had a player in the earlier game who did just exactly that. Had great ball skills and was able to step around the defender.
Throw in taken quickly. One back by Totino Grace just as easily as Del Moral. Sprayed it wide. That one's cut out by Barfknecht for Kersel. Now Hanlon. And Gilbert. Nobody really in the box. An easy one for Gagnon. Natalia, a junior.
Played that one perfectly. Saw the angle and saw the ball coming in. Just get your arms out in front of you and scoop it in.
Especially on a night like tonight.
Yeah, I think he's going to call that one. Yeah, thank you.
We haven't had a lot of calls to make in this game.
No, we haven't. That's kind of good. Only 2 fouls. They've both been on Robbinsdale Armstrong. Looking over our stat sheet to our ace statistician, Willie Markham.
Is that your pseudonym?
That's our stats guy. We can't put him on camera. He wants too much money. Armstrong moving the ball well here, being double teamed.
And coming out with it is Lilia Linders out of defense and has Lizelle on this near side. Set up the earlier goal. This time Barfknecht able to come back and get a strong foot in.
Barfknecht did a great job that time because Totino Grace had the numbers coming down.
This will be a foul against Paula Del Moral. So we talked about it. Not a lot of fouls. No, we've had 2 in 30 seconds. And there you can see the shove. That right arm extended.
Yep.
And it was spotted by the linesman on this near side.
Just a good look at Barfknecht. He's had a great first half. Very aggressive defender. Aguado with the kick gets it over the midline.
Aim for Kersel, but it's one back here. And this is Lauren Miller. And there's Barfknecht again.
Again, wow. He's impressive.
Not shy about the challenges, is she? Usually that's the case. The stronger foot usually wins.
Yeah, and on soccer, it's stronger and the quicker.
Through the middle again, just hops over the foot of Schrader. Tick down toward 10 minutes remaining here in the first half in a 1-1 tie. Goals from Sabrina Jara for Totino Grace and Carly Kersel for Robbinsdale Armstrong, her first ever varsity goal.
That kick was a little bit short, but the Armstrong defense covers it.
Here is Kersel. Wide for Hanlon.
Well, they cleared it out. Now let's see if they can get the counter going.
And again, they forced the play out. Well, they're going to give that one to Totino Grace. Looked like that was just Ellis putting it out of play to avoid the danger, but
yeah,
must have taken a tip. Serene returning.
Watching my parents' dog right now.
And Lauren Miller out.
He's still walking the dog and then picking up its poop in the plastic bag. So I've puked a couple times doing that.
Through the middle looking for Schrader. And back through Osborne here, and wants the quick one for Gilbert. But again, there's really numbers there for Totino Grace. They might want to be a little more patient with that ball. Lozelle, a little heavy touch, and Jaeger knocked it back. Now Hanley trying to get out of traffic. Jaeger again. And Barfnick stepping up to keep the pressure on. Hanley against Glancy here. Jaeger turned, but found two bodies there as Del Moral and Lozelle were right there defending. Now Osborne. And Jaeger aiming the long one towards the junior Lauren Gilbert.
And again, Totino Grace quick to get that throw-in back into play.
Down the line, Lozelle. Barfnick is there. Jara and Osborne shoulder to shoulder in the midfield. Talked so much about Barfnick. We barely mentioned Riley Riddall, who's the other central defender, because the play has been so much on this side of the field. And that's cleared out by Jessica Cruz. Just waiting on a shoelace there. That's the only thing keeping Totino Grace from getting these throw-ins quickly. Gilbert overstepped it. Played back by Linders. Now Glancy. Again, Armstrong keeping this press on. Not a lot of time to play the ball even at the back for Totino Grace. Here's Jara. Back for Del Moral. Strong touch, and Kersel knocks it away.
In the last 6-7 minutes, looks like Armstrong's been doing a better job of ball control, even though Totino Grace has been playing back and forth tag on the other end.
Sliding challenge from Jara. That's a corner. So Cruz put the other one in a very dangerous spot. We'll see what she does here with 7:15 remaining in the half. 5 players attacking from just the edge of the area here, and they'll scatter. This one driven in low and cleared away. I don't think that's quite the delivery that Cruz wanted on that ball.
No, she wanted much more distance and some height on it, I'm sure.
Substitutions before the throw here. Caroline Wilcox into the game for the first time for the Falcons, number 13. And Shay Laney returns. There you see Wilcox. And for Gilbert, right back to Cruz. There's the ball she wanted, and of course it's going to find Wilcox right away. Now a deep cross. That one off the foot of Elise Gallup, and turning is Osborne.
Offside.
I think they gave the goal kick, not the offside. Looked like that play might have been on. Kersel and Del Moral battling again. Here come the Falcons quickly. And Jara with a nice backtrack. Over the head of Gallup. And Barfnick right there to clean it up.
Nice move. And Sara, the defender, but that was a miscalculation on the pass, and here comes Totino Grace.
Olsen trying to get to it, and nice play by Gallup to get there. Nearly cleaned out by her own goalkeeper. Now Jara. Osborne physical here, and a little too physical. Lights are on here at Jim Totino Stadium. Have been since about halfway through the boys' game earlier because it was raining. Now it's clearing up as the night moves along.
Of course, you notice how it was raining on us as we were doing the pregame.
But it wasn't raining about 20 feet behind us. Here's Totino Grace, and that'll be a corner.
That's where, well, it was so strange. We were talking, it was raining. I looked to the left, about 20 feet There was sunshine.
If we've done that shot a little wider, we could have stood on the field. We'd still be dry.
That's right. Corner kick now for Totino Grace, their second of the first half.
This is Jara to take it. Dangerous ball to the near post, and it hits off the far post.
That was a great corner.
And it went off the head of Nicole Franzik.
And it just about went in on the near side and the near post.
Still laughing about it as she gets back to her central defense position. How she didn't have the luck to get that one in. What would have been her first varsity goal. Eagles trying to keep the pressure on here. Osborne knocking it away, but only as far as Glancy. And touched out by Elise Gallup. 4 minutes remaining here. Best chance we've seen in this game in a while.
Yeah, the rest of it's been a battle in the midfield, back and forth.
You said it. That was just an excellent corner from Jara. Driven low right at the near post. Perfect flick.
That's exactly what you want.
Here's Serene. Back into the box. Barfnicht here with 2 white jerseys around her. Now Serene turning away from Osborne. Trying to get it back to the middle for Olsen.
Yes. She tried to leave it for the other forward, but two red shirts were in the way.
And the foul this time is called against Katie Baker. There you see.
See it?
Jara drawing the foul.
Sets up a good set play opportunity for the Eagles.
Serene from deep. Dangerous ball knocked down by Kersel. Don't think she meant it, but it's tucked in, and Totino Grace leads 2-1. And it's Paula Del Moral who finished it off. Her second of the year. And I think Kersel was actually trying to get out of the way of the ball because she certainly didn't want to put it there.
Happens to be in the right place at the right time.
There it is again. There you see the finish. No chance again for Aguado.
Here we see it. Great shot. Keeper had no opportunity whatsoever to get that one.
We've seen some very good set piece balls in this game. Talked about the 2 corners.
Yep.
One that led to a goal, one off the post, and that one there from Serene. Obviously, we talked about Kersel maybe not wanting to play it, but she was in such a bad spot, didn't know what was behind her.
Yep.
Now here's Hanley as Armstrong trying to erase another deficit. She'll go from long range, straight on target for Gagne. Such an important goal and so late in the first half. That's a real killer for the Falcons.
Yeah, they've been working hard on defense to keep the Eagles out, and then give one up with 2 minutes to go, almost 2 minutes to go in the half is a little bit disheartening.
Now the ball that got her there was probably a little fortunate, but the finish was fantastic from Paula Del Moral.
She knew exactly what to do with that ball.
Now here's Serene looking for Olsen. And Radol comes over to knock it free. Lozelle trying to play through Wilcox. That's a close shot of that personal battle. The fact that they're playing on this sideline, great for us. It's right next to the cameras.
It's great camera shots.
Get you right to the action.
We aim to please.
Apparently so do the players playing this game. Knocked away by Franzik, who nearly scored just moments before the goal that went in from Del Moral with the header off the post. Gilbert there for the Falcons. Lindahl very strong on the ball back there.
And Totino Grace gets the throw in.
1 minute left here in the first half. Announcement made over the PA here. Falcons looking for a late equalizing goal here. And this one's going to fall nicely for Hanley, but she couldn't keep her feet. And then the challenge, and that gets players up on the Armstrong bench wanting the foul on Jara, which would have been a penalty.
Right.
A bad break there. It's almost an identical play to the goal at the other end for Del Moral, and the only problem was for Hanley that the ball kind of got stuck between her feet.
Yeah, and then they were kind of pushing each other. There was no advantage for either player, so no foul called.
Down to 15 seconds here. And Totino Grace happy to see the time run off the clock with the ball in the corner. And Linders
taking her time, might as well.
And that'll do it.
That'll
2
do
seconds remaining. And Totino Grace with the sucker punch late in the first half there. The goal by Del Moral. Entertaining stuff here between these two teams. And the Eagles are happy. They're going to come off the field ahead here at the break, 2-1.
Both teams played very aggressively. I think Totino Grace had a slightly better advantage near the last 5 minutes of the first half. But Armstrong was battling with them all the way, so we'll see what happens in the second half.
A tight game and 40 more minutes to play. We'll take a break. 2-1 Eagles here on CCX Sports.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
Halftime here at Totino Stadium, and the home team up 2-1. A late goal by Paula Del Moral, the junior. A nice finish just inside this near post. Taking a look at some of the highlights here in this first half, Sig, and we've had a handful of them both ways.
Yep.
Starting it off very early on. We'll have them here in just a moment, but here we go. This is the first goal of the game. Zell setting up Jar on a cross that seemed like it took forever to get there, and then she tucked it in.
Put it in just inside the post.
Speaking of just inside the post, the scramble effort there for Carly Kersel and Robbinsdale Armstrong with their first goal of the year. And then off the free kick, Kersel, probably a ball she didn't want to touch, and put it right into the path of Paula Del Moral, and she knew what to do.
No question about it. Powers the ball into the net. Put them up ahead 2-1.
Those are your first half highlights. And you kind of look at what's happened here. We'll take a look at the stats. Shots in favor of Robbinsdale Armstrong on goal as well. They've also kind of had the big advantage in the foul territory. I don't think Natalie Ginn will like that. And the corners, 2 apiece, and they've been very dangerous corners for both teams.
Yes, they have. That's we keep talking about how dangerous those set plays are. Corner kicks can be so valuable for a team that can execute it.
Well, 2-1 at the half here for Totino Grace. In your eyes, a fair reflection of how this game's been played?
It's been pretty close, but it's been between the 20-yard lines.
So halftime here still at Jim Totino Stadium. It is 2-1 Totino Grace. We'll be back with more on CCX Sports.
Never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
Welcome back here on CCX Sports. I agree with you. We're about to start the second half, and when we do, it looks like we will have a new goaltender for Totino Grace. Talked about this a little bit earlier. They've been using 2. We saw Natalia Gagnon in the first half. She has been warming up. Emma Lehman here in the second half. Lehman's wearing gloves. Gagnon is not. Generally means she's probably going in the game.
That would be the tip.
So that's obviously the job for her. She has the lead, is to keep it. You can see the 2 goaltenders there in the background. Lehman in the light blue kit. Robbinsdale Armstrong awaiting the home team here out on the field. Carly Kersel central to 2 important goals in this game. Knocked in Robbinsdale Armstrong's chance, and then obviously had the unlucky deflection that led to Paula Del Moral's finish late in that first half. Armstrong will start with the ball for what it's worth. No change in that goal, and it probably won't be all year. Anna Aguado. They don't even actually have a backup goalkeeper listed for Robbinsdale Armstrong, but when you had a player who had 10 shutouts and is going to the U of M, you probably keep her in.
Yeah, there's no reason to change that. Well, you may want to have a designated keeper in case something happens, but
we'll hope we don't find out exactly what the situation would be if Aguado couldn't play.
Right. Armstrong starts off the second half. Some good passing here, moving the ball up.
Kersel did not start the game, but since she came on, she has not left, and she is one of the captains of this Robbinsdale Armstrong team, despite only being a junior. Another player who was fairly central to the action in the first half, Jessica Hanley, down that far side now. And the left side for Robbinsdale Armstrong, the right side for Totino Grace, where I would say about 70% of this game's been played. And throwing a little too long. Goal kick here for Emma Lehman, just a freshman for Totino Grace. One of 3 on the roster. We saw the other 2 in the first half, Jessica Schrader and Lauren Miller.
So quite the range for Totino Grace. They got 3 12th graders and 3 9th graders.
7 juniors, 5 sophomores. Pretty good balance. Obviously, you figure there's probably a couple more freshmen and sophomores on the JV team that may be considered for varsity spots. So.
Yep, that's why you have JV teams, so you can move them up when needed.
Strength of the program, though, you think they have a lot of bodies for years to come, as Aguado is able to get there in front of Shaylin Laney, one of those juniors.
Well, that was weird. That was almost slow motion. Aguado finally coming up there and covering the ball. Nice deep kick.
Taken down by Totino Grace. And here is Lexi Serene.
Boy, Serene has a pretty good eye for what's going on in the midfield.
This is a team that has now 7 goals on the year. She's had a hand in 4 of them. Came in with a goal and 2 assists. Probably won't get an assist, as there's an effort from Jara on the goal that was scored by Del Moral because of the deflection, but she played the ball in that Kersel had to deal with. Actually talking about this before I was on the air with some of the folks that are doing the book on the boys game, how tough it is to actually get an assist in soccer. It's kind of a cruel stat in this sport.
Yes, it is.
This is Lozelle down that far side. She certainly had one on the first goal. She set up Jara. That ball was untouched by anybody else. Puts one into the middle here, and it's cleared away by Radal. Throwing from deep in the corner here. Lozelle will take it herself. Just under 3 minutes into the second half here. Totino Grace with the 2-1 lead. Goals from Jara and Del Moral. Kersel for Robbinsdale Armstrong. And here comes Osborne. Gilbert up front. Going to shield off the defenders here. Has an option on this near side. That was Isabel Bowick in all kinds of space. Couldn't get her the ball, and in the end, Kersel blasts one over the top.
Yeah, and that goes to what you were saying earlier. Armstrong may want to slow that down a little bit because they only had 2 players up front against 5 or 6 defenders.
Did see that a number of times in the first half. Just trying to get forward a little too quickly, and the support isn't there.
Right, sometimes they have to be a little bit patient. And then for the midfielders, they have to be able to know when to move up.
And you look at this game, we're obviously seeing it from a lower angle here, but if you look at it from where we are, these players are spread out.
Yes.
A lot of times you might see this game, all the players might be packed into about a 40-yard bunch. Here it's about 70.
Right, and that's what you want from your players. You don't want to be bunched up.
Holding it in here is Gallup. Out by Jager, and the long ball in, and there's a chance for Lehman to get her hands on it. Get into the game a little bit.
Yep, scoop that one up.
obviously a tough thing to do, sit for 40 minutes.
And then
come into a game that's actually been pretty well contested. And these goalkeepers know what they're getting into. I would imagine they know what the plan is before the game starts.
Oh, absolutely. And they were anxious to get in, too.
There's Bowick. Cruz, and that's off the shins of Elise Gallup. Cruz, Serene, and Kersel all going for the same ball. Good vision there by Kersel to spot Hanley. And Osborne wants Hanley again.
Trying to set up across. The defense is there.
And does find Osborne and straight on target for Emma Lehman. Good two-man game there by Osborne and Hanley, though. Serene wins that one back for Jara. Felt the pressure from Kersel.
No, not enough on that pass. It was a little bit too slow.
And again, a quick one looking for Gilbert, but the pace is there.
Nice counter.
Now Osborne. You mentioned Serene on the Totino Grace side. Osborne playing that role here for Robbinsdale Armstrong. Everything goes through her. Now Olivia Olsen. Looking for Lozelle on that far side. Back to Aguado.
And she just boots it all the way down the field. Nice kick.
Yeah, there still is a little bit of a breeze. It isn't as strong as it was maybe when the game started, but I think she's really excited to be working with it instead of against it here in half number 2.
That does make life better for you.
And Bowick in space here on this outside. Osborne trying to put it in her path and was kind of caught up in her feet just a little.
Yeah.
Couldn't get a lot on the shot.
Didn't see anybody else with her. That's why she took the shot. Otherwise, she was looking for somebody else to help her out to pass it to.
We talked about that a little bit in the first half. The ball kind of stuck on one side of the field. Now Armstrong starting to move it laterally, and they're finding some open players on that weak side. Hammered away by Kersel towards Osborne. A little too strong, out of play again. 7 minutes gone here in the second half. Into the middle for Del Moral, who right now has the winner. Jara scored Totino Grace's first goal. Ridoldo with the intervention on that one. Back to Del Moral. Now Olsen. One goal this year for Olsen. Scored that one in the Spring Lake Park game. It's back on August 29th. Game that ended 2-2. That was the score of Totino Grace's first 2 games of the year. First one against Holy Angels, second against Spring Lake Park, both on the road. Foul called against Jara on the play.
And Aguado comes up to take it. Might as well, she's got a good foot.
Right on target for Osborne. Now Gilbert. Osborne wants it back. Good turn by Gilbert. Another long-range shot. They've able to slide over and pick it up.
So Armstrong getting some opportunities here and just not getting what we call the quality shot. But they've been moving the ball up the field. So that's one part of the equation. The next part of the equation is finishing.
Now, right now it looks like they're just looking for that final pass that can get them, as you said, that quality shot.
Right.
They're kind of stuck just outside the 18-yard box.
Yeah, and that's where the Totino defense comes in.
Too strong down the line here. Linders.
It didn't go over the line. It just sat there. Now it went over.
Well, she made the best of it, although that's going to be a corner.
That's a corner, yeah. It bounced right off her own defender.
I thought she had played it off of Gilbert. Sometimes the ball just doesn't cooperate. That's one of those things, of course, you see that ball on turf, and it's still rolling. But here on grass, that one stops.
And it's wet.
Cruz,
Low
driven
shot.
corner, and that one ended up being a dangerous chance, although I think it was intended for Kersel at the near post. Actually came through the Radol at the far post and caught her by surprise.
And then the shot ended up going over the net. Goal kick coming out. Right to the red team. That's not what you want.
I mean, I thought it was Radol. It was actually Hanley who was there and just popped up and hit her right on the knee. Now Kersel. Clever from Hanley.
Little heel pass.
And Osborne looking for that back post run. That was a really nice ball, but there was nobody on the other end of it. Under a half hour remaining. Neither team's gone to the bench in the second half here.
Yeah, now that you mention, in the first half they were doing wholesale substitutions.
Coaches settling in here with a lineup. We'll see how much that changes over the final 29 minutes. Obviously, the only change is in goal.
Of course, since you mention it now.
They're going to just be on a conveyor belt at the sideline for the rest of the half.
Armstrong putting the pressure on again. Setting up for the corner, for the cross, and it's going to be a throw-in for the Falcons.
Yeah, Osborne trying to get the corner there. She was stuck along the byline. Throw in instead. Cruz looking for Osborne. A ricochet there, and the Falcons calling for the handball again. Instead, it's a chance for Elise Gallup. That's the second time that the Falcon bench has been up in arms over. The first one was a potential foul call in the box. This time it was a handball.
Yeah, I think there was another no call, or they thought it was a hand call, but no call.
Off the back of Del Moral. Shaylin Laney is there. The Falcons trying to keep the pressure on. Serene will go over the top for Olsen. And Laney and Radol collide in the challenge. Long ball from Cruz will find its way through to Osborne, who's now playing as really the striker here for Robbinsdale.
Yeah, she's the...
I think she was more of an attacking midfielder in the first half, however.
Yeah, now she's a... now she's the striker. And she's staying there, too.
Now Del Moral. Totino Grace trying to set up the counter. Good defensive work by Kersel. And they'll counter the counter. Bowick gave a little too much of that one to Sarah Ellis. Ellis ends up tumbling down.
And
throw belongs to Totino Grace.
And draws the foul in the process. Here, see it again. Boy, you can call that either way because she grabbed her opponent's arm before that.
In the end, maybe that's why the referee decided to call none of it. Go with the throw. And there'll be another one here for the Eagles. Olsen shrugging off the defender Radol there, and that draws the foul. That one's borderline as well, too. You're allowed to use your body to make space. You can't hip check necessarily, but
right.
That was maybe closer than it seemed. Here it is again. Now maybe a little arm push there.
A little elbow came out there.
Barfnecht wasn't too happy about the shot still being taken, too. It hit her on the hand. Intensity ratcheting up a little bit here in the second half. Now it feels like a conference rivalry. And boy, a game that, as you talked about very early on, both of these teams really need. You don't want to get too far down in a conference this good.
Right.
You still got 3 teams that are undefeated, untied. It's still early, only 2 conference games really for everybody. And then you have 3 more with a win and a draw. So you're way down with the 2 losses. Right now, Armstrong tied with Irondale. Osseo Park Center is the 0-2 team. They won the conference 2 years ago. And that is an accomplishment in the Northwest Suburban.
Yes, it is.
Teams that are in this conference year in, year out.
Yeah, and then you get into the sections, 6AA versus 6AA versus 5, and then you started getting some heavy-duty competition. I mean, this whole part of the state has grown so much in the last 10, 15 years in terms of not necessarily quality, but the quality of play. All teams who years ago had a lot of weaknesses are now strong, and the strong stay strong, but the other teams are catching up to them.
It makes for, as we talked about early in the game, some really tough sections for both of these two teams. I mean, anytime you win 13 games, you lose 3, and you get a 5 seed. This one's going to roll to the far side. And Bowick, a goal wide open for her, and I don't think she was expecting it.
Oh, my. All she had to do was tap it. You're right. I don't think she was expecting it, or
actually
it came too easy.
Here's the first one, and there's the second one.
Oh. She'll be seeing that in her dreams tonight.
Lauren Gilbert with the chance, but there was Osborne again making that entire play.
She makes those things happen. That makes her so valuable.
Jenna Bloom has checked into the game, a freshman for Robbinsdale Armstrong. Saw Jordan Bloom in the first half. Now we're seeing Jenna, and she takes the place of Bowick. So not only does she have the chance and then unfortunately misses it, then she goes right out. That substitution was scheduled before that chance even happened, but that's not going to make her feel any better.
No, it's not. I'm sure she feels bad about that.
Now Totino Grace can really turn the screws here if they can get an offensive opportunity. Lozelle for Del Moral. Serene off the shins of Olsen, pinballing around, and Barfnecht stays with it and clears it, and here come the Falcons. There's nobody there in that defensive midfield position, and the long ball intended for Gilbert, and that's the pass that I think you said you may not want to see anymore. Right now it doesn't really look like they can win the foot race. Doesn't matter if it's Linders back there or Franzik, they're covering that ground.
Yes, they are. That's what I was saying. You have to be a little bit patient sometimes.
Here's Olsen. Lozelle wanted that ball back in the corner.
So that's the difference. Totino Grace stopped, waited for the players to come up, and then
there's the chance that comes out of it. Awkward save for Aguado, but she does hold it.
Right. I mean, you may not score every time, but at least you want a quality shot. Let's see if you would see it again. Nice shot, left-footed shot. That was a lot more power than I thought.
And it bounced just right in front of the goalkeeper, which of course are always the worst ones to deal with. Never know if it's going to bounce or if it's going to skip. Olsen will check out now, and Schrader comes in.
I remember when they first started with the artificial turf on soccer, the players weren't used to it, and that ball would bounce off that surface, and it was just almost impossible to figure out when to kick the ball.
That surface has just really changed the game in the high school level. I played high school soccer in the state a long time ago, and nobody had it. And now everybody does, and it's just such a different sport. Here's Osborne. And that one's cleared away.
Wow.
And a good stop on that one by Lehman, and a rocket right at her.
There's a good look at Osborne. She had a good shot. And as we were talking about earlier, you can take that shot and hope for either a rebound or a miss.
And there's an awkward one to deal with for Lehman, as she had to punch it off her feet. Ends up as a corner here. Osborne, we saw the close-up a moment ago. She had a very nice first half. She's having an amazing second half.
She's really putting the pressure on, moving the ball around, looking for openers, passing it off to other players. Cruz with a nice corner.
Cleared away.
Oh, that was a mistake.
Unfortunate bounce off the foot there of Schrader.
Yeah, pass was just a little bit too hard, and Schrader unable to control it.
Armstrong's going to get Katie Baker back into the game here in a moment. Right now they're trying to keep the pressure on through Osborne.
Yeah, she's up on top.
Del Moral wins it away. One back again, this time by Kersel. And this is Hanley. And that one will drift out of play. Some contact in the box there. Gilbert coming together with Franzik. And out goes Gallup, who just took that long-range shot, and in comes Baker.
Lancy did the smart thing at the last second, knowing it was going to be a goal kick, didn't make sure she didn't have any contact with it. But I tell you, Totino Grace is having a tough time getting the ball out of their zone.
We saw this in the first half, too, when Armstrong had their press upfield. They were really just hounding everything Totino Grace did. They were able to keep the possession in that half.
Right.
And they're doing it very well here in the second.
Yeah, they're doing even better here. And that's why Osborne sends the ball back for a shot.
And that was a dangerous ball that Lehman nearly spilled on the long, deep cross, I guess you could call it, from Molly Jager.
Yeah, more of a cross or pass than a shot on goal. Ooh, nice interception.
And there's that pressure again. Jager stepping up 30 yards ahead of the rest of the defenders to make a play. They have that freedom to do it from the head coach, Natalie Ginn. Now Serene. Serene will blast away and blocked by Barfnick. Second effort at it. And that one's scooped up by Aguado.
Good clean save.
Shot came from Lauren Miller, who just checked in. Osborne and Linders. That'll be the battle to watch here for the final 19 minutes. Linders looks like she's going to be Osborne's shadow. Right now, this is Serene. Del Moral to her right, 2 to her left, and does lay it here through for Paula Del Moral. And that one, as sweetly as she hit the one in the first half, not so good that time.
No. Probably shot it a little bit earlier than she wanted to. Didn't have good control on it. Of course, that's easy for us to say up here because we're just watching and making comments up. But down on the field, it gets a little bit hairy. Boy, that goes through everybody.
Osborne trying to win it back again for the Falcons. Franzic's only play was to clear it, and Gilbert inadvertently gives up the goal kick. Probably would have had a throw in there had she just let it go, as Rachel Peterson will come back in here for Totino Grace. Sarah Lizelle jogging off. And a big break there for the Eagles on that play. It looked like Franzic's option was to go out over the sideline. Peterson right into the action. 2 Falcons to deal with over there, and they switch the field again, this time looking for Baker. Good work to win it back. Cruz with the deep cross. Stepping into it is Hanley. Has help. And it's Kersel. And that one drops on the safe side of the crossbar if you're Emma Lehman.
Armstrong still putting the pressure on. And again, Eagles just can't get that ball cleared out of their zone. So in terms of field position and possession, it's Armstrong ahead.
Yeah, Totino Grace has really just sort of picked their spots offensively, playing this game to win it 2-1 almost. Kersel wide. The option there is Jenna Bloom. Step around the defender and finds Osborne. That's where they want the ball. Cut out by Franzic. Kersel hustling after it. Osborne wins it back again, and this time it forces Linders to play it out. Turn that pressure up another notch here with 16 minutes remaining.
Yeah, probably good play that time, getting the ball over the touchline, give your team a chance to regroup a little bit.
And again, they can't get the clearance. Jager with a cross into a dangerous spot. And a little miscommunication there between goalkeeper and defender as it was cleared away by Sarah Ellis right in front of Lehman. Again, you have a young goalkeeper here, and you've had a different goalkeeper that you had in the first half. That communication's important.
Yeah, the most important part of a keeper's responsibility is to communicate with your defenders. Tell them when to let the ball through for her to catch, and when to get in there and punch it out.
Sometimes freshmen are not the loudest on the field, but you've got to be as a keeper.
Right.
She will learn that. She's got plenty of time to do it. Here comes Hanley.
Another takeaway for the Armstrong Falcons, and now is another opportunity for a shot.
And they are trying it from deep, and that hit the crossbar from Kersel.
Wow. I think they nonchalant that one a little bit too much.
It was in a nearly perfectly placed. Here it is again. Look at this.
Look at this. Right off the corner.
I don't know if there's much Lehman would have been able to do about that had it been, what, an inch shorter? It actually hit right off the L.
Yep, right on the corner. Yeah, a little bit, and another inch or so inside, that would have ricocheted right inside the goal.
Well, that's only going to invite more long-range shots. Kersel's already tried a few in this second half. Here's Radol stepping up. Even the central defenders getting in on this high press for Robbinsdale Armstrong, and it's working out for them right now, at least in terms of possession and pressure.
Yeah, Armstrong's winning all these 50-50 balls.
Kersel tried it again. This one's going to stay in play. Cut back by Hanley.
And that'll be out.
Pardon me, that was Jenna Bloom on the far side.
So you can see some of the Totino Grace defenders are just gassed.
They seem to be outnumbered right now. And you get a look at the freshman Bloom.
Yeah, they're being outnumbered, outplayed, and outmaneuvered.
Throw in here for the Eagles, who just brought back in Olivia Olson and also Sabrina Jara.
It was a good look at Hanley, number 32. He's having a great second half.
Jaeger steps up, sliced it a little bit out of play, and that will still belong to the Eagles. Nice turn there by Shaylin Laney, but crowded out. The Falcons win it back, and it seems like every ball, Totino Grace has one player, Falcons have two.
Yep. That's why they're winning these 50-50s.
And there they spread the field again, looking for Jenna Bloom. Now she can wait for the support. Dangerous ball again, but that back post run not there.
Yep. Just can't quite connect. They got the right idea. They're getting the ball in where it should be dangerous and some quality shot, but not paying off.
And the perks of being a goalkeeper.
Oh,
other people tie your shoes for you.
I like that. Huh?
Look, it's either have somebody do it for you, or you take off those big clumsy gloves.
Yeah, makes sense.
Then you got to put them back on.
Yeah, makes sense.
Referee gives you a yellow card for time wasting. A lot of things go wrong.
Another opportunity for Armstrong as the Eagle defense manages to clear it out. They didn't clear it out, but they moved it out of the way.
That first clearance nearly fell straight to Bloom, who was in a dangerous spot. Jaeger keeping the press on. Falcons doing everything they can to tie this thing up. Cleared away, but only as far as Kersel. Long shot by Osborne. That one easy for Lehman. Kersel ends up on the ground, quickly taken throw.
But nobody there. It'll be back to the keeper.
Jaeger couldn't hold it in. This time, Totino Grace giving Robbinsdale Armstrong a little bit of their own medicine.
Yes. Seems that way. Now the Totino Grace opportunity to get their offense going if they can maintain control of the ball.
Del Moral looking for Serene. Now Ellis. And Guado will scoop that one up, and the Falcons can try to turn it on again with 10:50 remaining.
It should be easy with the way Guado kicks the ball.
Here's Jara. Goal scorer in the first half. Now Osborne. If there's any player on this field who deserves to score a goal tonight, it's Osborne with the work that she's done.
I agree.
And the flag goes up here. Just a second late on that ball for Shaylin Laney, who was making a nice run.
Didn't time that one quite right, but it was a good idea. Here you see it. Sarah looking for her, and she's obviously offside. Even we can see that one.
Now Serene again. Hoofs it upfield, make the Falcons work. Use the entire field to get back at you. Now Kersel.
Oh, they
challenge.
Could have called that one. They called advantage.
And Totino Grace wins it back. Here is Laney.
But Totino Grace just not connecting on their passes as they were in the first half.
Nice work by Kersel to win that back. Now Osborne. Linders is the defender again. Osborne turning on the Jets down this near side here. That ball stays in play. Good work to keep it alive now for Baker. And Lehman with the scoop. Under 9 minutes left now for the Falcons, trying to avoid going to 0-4, which would be more losses than they had all of last year.
And they don't want that. So they're fighting pretty hard in the second half.
Totino Grace, for what it's worth, trying to hang on to their first win of the year. They had 4 losses themselves a year ago, 14-4-4. Like so many games in the section that they play in. Lost in the final to Benilde St. Margaret's, who of course went on to win the title for the second straight year, and Hanley with a shot.
Yeah, that
away, but not convincingly by Lehman.
Now that was a little bit scary, but she did have the presence in her mind that, watch this, she's taking to the defender to kick it out, and she does. So that time she did communicate and made the right call.
Excellent view of the shot there. Our camera down on the field. Now here's Cruz. Scored off a corner in the first half. And this one's knotted away, straight back to Cruz. Second effort at it, straight to Lehman, a basket catch. Again, the Falcons win the restart. And now Osborne.
Boy, she's been working hard over there.
Another dangerous ball, trying to knot it back into trouble. Still loose in there. And looking for Baker outside. Is eventually just hammered away. And stepping up is Barfnecht to keep the pressure on. We talked about her quite a bit in the first half. Now trying to work a little farther up the field. And Olsen again, long clearance.
And only red shirts back there.
Did you get your bucket of sweet Martha's cookies at the fair?
So after final whistle, just sit down. Sounds good.
Substitutions for the Eagles, number 17, Sarah.
Substitutions coming in for both teams here. Lizelle and also Del Moral. And Baker is out. And back into the game is Samantha Hanlon. Haven't seen Hanlon since really early in the game, but she was central to a handful of moves for Robbinsdale Armstrong. And that throw-in actually never went in, so it's going to go back to the Falcons. That's a break for the road team here with 6 minutes remaining.
Assistant referee telling her where the play comes.
Now Osborne back for Cruz, looking for that deep cross. Bodies in the middle, and it's Hanley who puts it over the top, but she was unmarked. And right now, Totino Grace just needs to start getting back and actually picking up players because everybody's going forward for the Falcons.
Yeah, they're flooding that zone, that defensive zone.
Knocked down by Kersel. Now Cruz again. She'll try one from long range, and luckily the height was there for Lehman.
Able to stand her ground and just bring that one in. So the question of the game is will Armstrong be able to get a payoff from all this incredible pressure they're putting on the Eagles?
Kersel didn't have much help there. Turns it over, and now here's Olsen. El Moral down the line. Flag stays down this time.
Tries to cross.
Kersel back to win it. Played back across the middle, and the shot from a lunging Del Moral, and that one is picked up by Aguado.
That's the first shot on goal in a long time for the Eagles.
Meanwhile,
Nice
at the
attempt.
other end, Osborne's coming right back, and she's going to earn another corner here. And we may have... Actually, I think they're going to call this back and call a foul. While this was all going on, there was a tug. I think the referee played advantage and now is going to call the foul.
Okay.
It was a fairly long advantage, and it looked like it was going to be a corner anyway, so it was actually well before that. You can see Osborne look back at the official and get the call.
Yep, she goes, yep, got it.
Meanwhile, the ball comes in, and it's cleared back out again by Totino Grace. Everybody's back in white, however. And now Barfnick. Cleared away by Del Moral. And Kersel has really been central this second half in just winning the ball back for the Falcons. Gives it away there, but it seems like every attack has started with her winning the ball in midfield and finding a teammate.
Right, that's the objective of a good midfielder, winning the ball back and start the offense going.
Down the line for Laney. Hanlon and Hanley win it back for the Falcons. It's over the head of Franzak, and now it breaks nicely for Osborne. Nobody up there with her right now. Osborne toward the byline and ran out of room and puts it over the top. Falcons fans calling for a corner. It looked like that one went straight out to me. Good call by the officials.
Another look at Osborne. Boy, she's had a lot of work put in to the second half.
To split two defenders there, and we'll see if it does take a touch. Doesn't look like it to me. Cruz losing out on the sideline here for Serene. And now this is Laney. Able to step around Kersel. Not many have done that in the second half. And then Hanley puts it out of play. You can see the time. Falcons running out of seconds here. And the Eagles content to just do this for the rest of the night.
Yeah, the best thing that Totino Grace can do right now is mount some type of an offense and give their defense a little bit of a rest, because they are just gassed back there. They've been running all over the place trying to chase down Osborne.
And Gilbert looking for Osborne. And that
that was not good. At this stage of the game, that is not what you want. Now they have to go back, regain possession.
Totino Grace hustling these throw-ins still. They don't have to.
No, they can take their time.
And a bump in the back there by Olsen. So now Cruz has a chance to launch one forward. They've got to get some bodies up there. And they aim it for the obvious target in Osborne. Looking down the line for Hanlon, and that's going to run out of play. Totino Grace ball with 1:06 left.
Take your time.
One back by Hanlon. Into the box. And anywhere will do for the Eagles. right back into the mix by Cruz. And Lee trying to shrug off a challenge. Now Jaeger. And Lozelle puts it out of play, kills a few more seconds.
Armstrong gets it back quickly. Nice throw in.
And just hammered upfield by Jara. No goals in the second half, but certainly plenty of good action, mostly
red.
Totino Grace end. Here's Osborne. One more chance maybe for the Falcons. Looking for an option wide. Good ball through, and excellent goalkeeping there from Emma Lehman to come out aggressively and early, and that should just about do it as she takes a look up at the clock herself. One more boot, and the Eagles are on the win column here finally in 2017. They are 1-1-2, and they had to hang on for dear life against this desperate Armstrong team.
It was like watching two different games. First half was pretty much controlled by Totino Grace. They had good opportunity, good passing. Second half, Armstrong came out firing. They've been pounding the Totino Grace defense. Osborne having some great opportunities. She's a great captain, and better things will come for the Falcons.
Yeah, they play like they did in that second half. The wins will be there, but right now they are unfortunately 0-4 here to start the year, and I don't think anybody would have guessed that who follows the Northwest Suburban Conference. But I don't think anybody would have guessed that these two teams would have combined for only one win. There is the final. Totino Grace hangs on to win it 2-1 over the Falcons. We'll send you out with the sights and sounds of this one. Totino Grace has a win here in 2017 thanks to goals from Sabrina Jara and Paula Del Moral. So for Sig Ligry, everybody in the truck, I'm Charlie Beatty saying so long. Thanks for tuning in to CCX Sports. The Eagles 2, the Falcons 1.